Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're looking at Raichu Bats. It's an archetype that actually did fairly well at Orlando. I believe it got at least one top 32 spot, and it's an archetype that really hasn't been discussed much since the rotation of Crobat, but it's being proven to be fairly effective in current standard even without the highest evolution of the Bats. So we'll be jumping into the deck now. There's a few interesting inclusions in this deck that are worth noting, but overall it's a fairly standard, easy to play deck where you're just trying to set up Raichu with a full bench and just reach your one-hit KOs thanks to the Bats, basically. That's how we're going to try and rock with this deck. So let's jump straight into it. First of all, one of the actual hardest decisions of this deck is which Pikachu to run, because we actually have a handful, and at the moment I'm still using the Nuzzle Pikachu. I think the flip for paralysis is on par with the other agility type flips that you can do. I'll actually look at the Pikachus later on for sort of options for this deck, but at the moment I think paralysis is one of the strongest things you can inflict on someone, even with them having escape ropes and switches. I think that's still one of the strongest things you can do. For the most part though, he is just the thing that you do before you go into Raichu, your main attacker. But yeah, at the moment I'm still using Nuzzle Pikachu, but it's actually a debate right now, which is quite interesting. Next up we have the Raichu. This is the nice Generations artwork, but this has been reprinted a bunch of times. It's even in the Keldeo Rayquaza boxes as well, so I think it's quite easy to get this card now. It's a 90 HP stage 1 with Circle Circuit. For 2 colorless energy, we do 20 times the number of our own benched Pokemon, so it's just like a Mega Rayquaza, but for double colorless we're doing 20 times. And yeah, it's a bit less of a powerhouse compared to Rayquaza, but very easy to get this guy set up. He also has free retreat, which is notable, so it's a very, very good card all round. The typing is one of the best reasons to play this deck. Having weakness, lightning weakness is great for the likes of Yveltal, which is very popular right now. Rayquaza is always going to be a fairly easy matchup for you. And we also have the typing of Mew EX in here to have psychic coverage against Mewtwo. So one of the big strengths of this deck is that we can just pound our way through things just by hitting for weakness on some of the bigger decks in the format right now, so that's very cool. So here is the Mew EX. It's 120 HP basic EX, which doesn't sound great for us, but this is really in here to counter Mewtwo, really. We have the versatile ability, meaning that this Pokemon can use the attacks of any Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, although you still need the necessary energy to attack. So it means that we can have a Raichu chilling on the bench, and then we can attach a DC to the Mew, and we can copy Circle Circuit. Very, very easy, and it means that we have the extra coverage of a Psychic type. At the same time, this is obviously a basic, so if we're being locked out by things like Glaceon EX, we do have Ranger in the deck, but we also can attack with a Mew instead, and still use Circle Circuit, but just on a basic. So against the Vileplume box players, we have different attacking options, so it's a very, very cool card that you sometimes want to cycle in this deck, even though it does give up 2 prizes. The replace attack will never be used because we only have double colorless in the deck, so yeah. So onto the support. Really the biggest supporting cast is going to be the Bats. We have 4 Zubat, and we also have 4 of the Golbat, with 70 HP, so it's nice and levelable searchable, as is the majority of the deck. Everything but the EXs are all levelable targets, which is why you can see 4 in here. And we have the ability Sneaky Bite. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Very simple stuff. Extra damage where Raichu, if we have Skyfield in play, Circle Circuit reaches 160. And that's not one-hit KOing anything unless they're a non-EX. So against the EX decks, we have the extra snipes from Golbat to push us into one-hit KO range. Pretty simple stuff all round. He also has free retreat, which is fantastic, and he also has the swoop across attack, which allows us to do 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. The Golbat serves more purposes than just helping out against EX matchups. Against the likes of Greninja, you can stack up Sneaky Bites to try and deal with things like Froakie, especially because most of the Greninja players are not playing Rough Seas anymore. They're mainly using Faded Town instead. So you can get, again, multiple knockouts, really putting the pressure on Greninja players very early on in the game. Again, that typing from Raichu comes into play because we can get over Talonflame really quickly, and then our board is normally set up quite nicely. for running through a load of Greninjas. And as well, we have the easiest time in the world against Gyarados. It's like the most free matchup you can think of. You have type coverage over the Gyarados, and you have the back drops in the first place from Sneaky Bite, but also, as long as they don't have Mr. Mime set up, you can swoop across and take literally 3 prizes in a turn. So Gyarados is pretty much a freebie for you, which is pretty cool because it's somehow receiving a lot of hype. It can hit like a truck, but it's really easy to counter Gyarados, so I don't know if it's going to be a deck that stays around for too long now that it's had its time in the limelight. But anyway, we have the bats just to help out in the EX matchups to get the 1-hits, and also the non-EX matchups, so we can stack up those Sneaky Bites for extra KOs on lower HP things, which is very cool. Next up, we have a 1-1 line of Banette. We don't have any Psychic Energy, like I was saying. If we were to play any Basic Energy, it would be Psychic, because Blair is actually a pretty good attack, but at the moment, just for DCE, we have the Stage 1 with just 80 HP again, so it's levelable, searchable, and we have the ability Tool Concealment. Each Pokemon Tool card in play has no effect. This is, again, a really helpful thing for us. Fury Belt is everywhere right now. Think about Dark Tina, and also the Yveltal variants, and Volcanion likes playing high Fury Belt counts. So keeping them into achievable amounts with the Raichus and the Bats is really important for us. Additionally, against the Mega decks, we're shutting off Spirit Link, obviously. So you get over their first Mega, and then it's hard for them to continue. They have to Hex before putting their tool on and Megaing, or they have to deal with the Banette before they deal with anything else. So really, really good news for us. Also, we shut off things like Floatstone, which again is useful in a whole bunch of different decks. So many things we shut off, even to an extent EXP share, for things like Rainbow Road, and some of the yveltal builds play EXP share as well, or some of the dark decks definitely do. So shutting off all these things is really, really good coverage for us. Whenever people aren't playing Garbodor, Banette gets really good value in this deck. So it's a very cool 1-of, or a 1-1 line to have in here that just skews so many matchups and makes things more awkward. Very, very cool. And rounding off, we just have the 3 Shaymin EX to help us draw cards, basically. Remain consistent as possible. We have a lot of insta-play cards in this deck. You can have really explosive turn 1s. So having the 3 Shaymin just really allows that to be even more of a possibility. Onto the items now, we have a few 1-ofs. The 1-off Special Charge to respam our Double Colorless energy. It's pretty standard stuff. 1 Escape Rope I like in here because it's the only switching card we have in the entire deck. Nothing has a higher retreat cost than 1. And we also have Golbat with free retreat and the Raichu with free retreat, so we don't need a huge amount of switching options. But I think just the 1-of can bail you out in certain situations, especially because we have teammates. I feel like having some of these 1-ofs is really worthwhile, because you can fish them out quite nicely. And at the same time, Rope can get you out of awkward spots, force your opponent into a Mega, not a Mega, just an EX if they've put a non-EX in the way, or if they've got a bursting balloon on. These sorts of situations are really good for us, because then we can just use any of our free retreaters to go back into our main attacker if need be. Another 1-of is going to be Enhanced Hammer. One of the most awkward things for us to play around is Giratina. So if we can put an Enhanced Hammer in and maybe slow them down a turn before they've got a Chaos Wheel in, can be really, really important for us. So the 1E Hammer is very cool if we can find it. There's a debate to putting puzzles in this deck, and I think if you're playing puzzle, you almost definitely have to have the E-Hammer, because then you can spam it against a Giratina, and you have a way better time in that matchup. Really, the thing that we have to do is we need to hope we have Banette up, we need to hope we have Raichu ready to go, and we need to dedicate our bat damage to the Giratina, so that once they do Chaos Wheel, we can try and do Pokemon Ranger and just deal with it. But at the same time, the Enhanced Hammer is more of a proactive approach, because that's one of the biggest issues for this deck. Next up, we have the 2-of Super Rod. We're not playing Karen in this list because I feel Karen is way too slow. In my playtesting, this deck wants to be finished up with its game in about 4 or 5 turns. And if one of those turns is spent using Karen, you're way behind. I like the recycle of Super Rod because you can just carry on with your turn pretty much. And it's all you need Pokemon-wise. That's quite a lot of Pokemon you can recover just with the rods themselves. So I think that's the correct count. Next up, we have the 4-ofs. 4 male. Really important to find Skyfield ASAP, because then it makes all of our other Bull Search very usable. And obviously we need to get Skyfield out for damage. So oftentimes we dig for Skyfield, but in general, more balls for more Pokemon, and also going to help find our supporters and such. Then we just have, we have the 4 level ball. Everything apart from Mew and Shaymin are searchable. Really, really important card for helping us swarm early and helping us maintain a large amount of attackers, which is pretty cool. Then we have the 4 Ultra Ball as well. Similar concept, but this time we can also grab Shaymin for cards or Mew in those sorts of matchups. Then we have the 4 VS Seeker as well. We like to motor through the deck as quickly as possible. So putting supporters into the ditch is fine, so we can reuse them. We have the 1 of N. This deck is very aggressive, so we don't really need to use more than one in a game. Shuffle draw is always helpful though at certain points, but really we want to be more aggressive, either using Sycamore or teammates to get guaranteed cards. So I think just a 1 of N is important. Then we have the 1 of Pokemon Ranger, so that we can prevent the effects of attack. This helps us get around things like Glaceon, but mainly it's going to be Giratina, because Tina, especially if they can put like Parallel City into play and then use Chaos Wheel, we have to Ranger them, because otherwise our damage output is way too low. So we have to Ranger, hit Skyfield, hope to get enough Pokemon back, and then try and deal with this big Giratina, because that really is the biggest hiccup for this deck by far. There is teammates. I love, love, love teammates in this deck. We're very non-EX focused, so having plenty of opportunities to use teammates is great. We're DCE focused, so you can just go ahead and grab DCE and one other card that you need at the time. Really, really nice for helping us tick along quite casually, pretty much. And then we have the 2 Lysandre count. We're very effective at dealing 1-hit KOs on Shaymin EXs. When people are playing Parallel City, they're normally trying to limit your own bench. So their Shaymins are normally still targets on the board. So at the very least, if you can't replace a stadium, you can just Lysandre KO a Shaymin, because you only need 3 on your bench. So yeah, that's pretty important. I like the 2 of, just to, again, fits with the style of the deck. We're trying to be as aggressive as possible. Additionally, against things like Mewtwo Garbodor, you need to deal with a Garb very quickly, because we're very reliant on the ability of Mew, and also the ability of Banette is also very helpful. So if you can deal with the Trubbishes and the Garbodors before they become an issue for you, that's going to be way more helpful. So I like the 2 count of Lysandre very much in here. Finally, just the 4 Sycamore to help us motor through, etc, etc. You can pretty much start insta-playing the majority of these cards, other than the stage 1s, but we have thick enough lines and we have rods anyway to recover them, so you can go pretty nuts with this deck and just play your hand down on Sycamore and then Shaymin back up, and just have really good turn 1s. Sycamore allows that to be a possibility. Then we have the 4 Skyfield, obviously essential in this deck, and as well the 4 Double Colorless is all the energy that we need to play. So that is going to be it. Let's look at some of the Pokemon options. One of them is going to be Absol. Because we are using bats and such, the Absol could be a cool 1 of in here, for sure, just for those niche situations for dealing with Pokemon. I think if you're playing Absol, you probably cut the Banette. I've really debated having Banette in here, because a lot of the time you could just think, well, I may as well just get more snipes working with the bats, and I think Absol does sort of fit that role as well, but Banette does cover quite a few matchups, so at the moment I'm choosing Banette over the Absol. Another Pokemon you could think about is the Hawlucha, the Sudden Cyclone. Again, it's one of these Pokemon that can just add up to the overall basic Pokemon count that we have to just help out with the Raichu. But again, it's that gusting, why we have the 1 Escape Rope in here. Similar reasons for the Hawlucha. Let's look at the Pikachu debate. We currently are using the Nuzzle Pikachu for paralysis, but we also have the Agility Pikachu. This flips a coin if heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon, during your opponent's next turn, and we also get the bonus of 10 damage. 10 damage doesn't sound like a lot, but against 170 HP EXs, this is hugely relevant actually, because it means you can go into your Raichu, and with a full board you get the KO. Or if you don't get a full board but you get bats, you're just that bit closer to dealing with 170 HP EXs over the course of 2 turns. And if you win that coin flip, that's pretty handy to you. Bear in mind, of course, people can Ranger through that, so do bear that in mind. And then we also have Tail Whip, which can also be Rangered through. Flip a coin if heads, the defending Pokemon can't attack. I think this is the least useful of the 3. I would either go with Agility, just for the greedy plus 10 damage that you can get, but overall I think Paralysis is the most awkward. Obviously people have to use Ranger or Lysandre to get around Agility. But if we use Nuzzle, they can use like a switch to get around it. But at the same time, the thing of the active is most of the time the thing that they want to attack with. So I feel like Nuzzle is still the most helpful of all the Pikachus right now. But it is actually something I had to query and sit down and have a think about for a while, which was really bizarre for this deck. Next up, a couple of other bench sitters. Octillery could be an option, just to stabilize you throughout the mid game, so you end-proof yourself as well, because we do need a couple of complex pieces. Again, it's one of those things, if you don't value the Banette, you may want to try a 1-1 Octillery line instead, see how that works for you. Alternatively, something like Milotic as well could be useful. Having Sparkling Ripples available is really helpful, so you can get back your DCEs and get back your Skyfields and such. That could also be a really cool option for you for that little bit of extra recovery. Onto the items, I think Puzzle is definitely something I've thought about putting in here. Right now, even with teammates, I've chosen not to get puzzles in, because I think it's just cleaner without puzzles. You just have easier hands, easier Sycamores and stuff like that, so you can just motor through without any care in the world, really. Puzzle can create headaches in terms of what your hand looks like, but at the same time, it can be really nice recovery. Again, making sure that you win the Stadium War throughout the game, making sure you carry on with DCEs. It's a pretty cool option for this deck. I think that's something worth considering. And also Bursting Balloons. Because so many people are playing Parallel City right now, Bursting a Balloon could be really nice for us to maintain a high damage output. Basically force Lysandres, otherwise they're getting a big balloon in the face. Even when we're not doing much with the Raichu, it sort of acts as a pseudo way around using the bats. Because we can hit to 160, put a balloon on, and then your opponent has the awkward choice of not attacking, Lysandring around, etc, etc. And it's just an extra bit of awkwardness for the opponent to deal with. Obviously, again, it clashes with the Banette, so you have to be careful about playing the balloons and playing Banette at the same time. You don't want to do that, but it would be a slightly adapted build, but I could see balloons also working with Raichu. So let's get into some battles, and it should be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, oh, it's a new ladder. Unfortunately, Volcanian's not working on the ladder, so we won't be seeing any Volcanion matchups, which actually is a really close one. So that would be fun to see, but no luck, guys. PTCGO has somehow messed up the Volcanion. But we have found a game at the very least. And we're going to see a coin flip. And we'll see how this goes. We would indeed like to go first. Always helpful for evolution decks. And looks like we start with Mew. This isn't the best of hands, but we can work with it. Maybe. And we get Shaymin, so that's really nice actually. That's a huge top deck for us. We'll go ahead and grab Pikachu. Looks like we're up against Greninja. And against Greninja, it's completely fine to attach the DC to the Mew, I think. And we'll go ahead and set up for 3 cards. We do want to develop some Zubats if we're able this turn, because we can really threaten a few things. Picking up a Sycamore is huge, really, really helpful. We also pick up Ultra Ball, so that's going to grab us a Zubat, and I think we just pass after that. We'll Ultra Ball away these 2. We'll grab ourselves... Well, alternatively, we could go crazy with a Shaymin, I guess. Sure, why not? Let's just get a crazy board going. Because guaranteeing 1 bat's not really enough. If we guarantee like 2 or 3, that's really scary. Looks like we just get the 1. We do have the N potentially, though. Let's go for it. I think it's fine. Just want to get as many Zubats down as possible, and here they are. The Zubat army is here, so putting 3 down is actually like ideal here, because then if the opponent replaces the Stadium, we lose both Shaymins, and that's fine, and we keep all 3 Zubats. So if we're able to dig for enough Golbat next turn, we can actually KO like a Froakie just with Snipes, and then we can attack for the turn. So the opponent has to get a lot going next turn, so I'm very, very content with this turn 1. It's one of the best benefits of having 8 Ball Search cards for Pokemon. It's really good for us. The opponent responds with just an attachment and an N, not very strong at all. We could be in good shape here. Oh, wow. We have Golbat and Level Ball. There's a Remoraid and a Bursting Balloon. And just a bubble. It does get heads though. So we do have to dig for our escape rope that we play. But I'm sure that's not too big of an issue. Well, who knows. Not going to take the VS Seeker. We will Level Ball. I think at the very least it's hugely important to snipe the Froakie. Because if we don't find the switching card, it's still huge that we can KO a Froakie here. Like, ridiculously good for us. We'll attach a DCE. I'm not concerned about discarding another DCE. The only issue is that it's another Super Rod. So I guess we will just play the N. I know the opponent doesn't have much, but I think it's really important to keep the final Super Rod. Oh my goodness. That's literally like every supporter that we play. Super unfortunate to miss the Super Rod and all Ball Search cards. That's a real shame. Damn, the Greninja players got away with murder there pretty much. That's pretty unfortunate. Oh well. So, typically here comes Frogadier. And that's super awkward. Oh man. Could have been aggressive. Hindsight's 2020 though. We'll Sycamore this hand because it's gross. We can get double Raichus out. Is the snipe going to be relevant? I don't think it is. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We don't need this Super Rod just yet. Don't need to do anything really. We'll just... what's our best attack here? It could even be Sky Return. Could Sky Return into a Golbat? Yeah, I think that's pretty much best. Alternatives was to stay in the active this turn, then Sky Return next turn, but I want to be way more aggressive next turn if he gets a Greninja out. The opponent does evolve into Greninja. They do play a Professor's Letter. We see an attachment for turn and an N. We see a Froakie, a Dive Ball, going for another Greninja. And we're just going to see the Moonlight Slash for the KO. So we have... Don't think I need to play the Shuppet. I think I evolve into Golbat for the active, then Ultra Ball to Shaymin. I think that's what I want to do. So let's use Golbat. So now we're doing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So then playing the Shaymin will get us there. Do I want to use the Super Rod to replace the Bats right now? I don't think they're the best target for us. So instead we're just going to hold the Super Rod and be a bit more cautious. The opponent's not played any stadiums yet. and we've just had to discard one, so we are going to be a bit more cautious. I'm going to happily put down another Pikachu here. And I'm going to put down the Zubat, so again, if the opponent replaces the stadium, we can recover 3 Shaymins. That would be pretty cool. There's nothing else we need this turn, so we'll just go for the Circle Circuit. The best part about Raichu in this matchup is that it has 90 HP, so it's actually really awkward for the Greninja player. They're normally going to snipe things like the Pikachus and the Zubats, but then they're never dealing the one hit on the Raichu, so that's pretty cool. Gonna see the VS Seeker for the N. And the Scoop. Okie dokie. Looks like the opponent may have missed Greninja Break, most likely. But that game could have been a lot quicker had we got all of our bats or a way to switch. We could have won in like turn 2. Bit of a shame that we didn't have that crazy turn 2, but still the potential is there to really disrupt opponents like that. And the bats still are important in that matchup. So yeah, not bad, not bad. Let's jump into another game and see how that goes. Looks like it's another water deck. Could be another Greninja. We win the flip, so that's perfect. And we have a nice, really nice start actually, I'd say. Have the Pikachu, we have Skyfield. Having to Ultra Ball or discard Special Charge might be awkward turn 1, but oh, it's definitely not Greninja because it plays Fury Belt. It does play Artillery and DC. This could be Glalie. What other waters are out there? Oh, Gyarados. Could be Gyarados. Don't know why I was thinking Glalie above Gyarados. Anyway. We'll draw an extra card. Oh, it looks like it's Aqua Box. Okay. Aqua Box. Okay, we're going to play the Rope here. Force the opponent's attachment to be to their Manaphy, which is far from ideal for them. We're going to play the Ultra Ball now. We can just get rid of our Pokemons. We do have Mew in the deck, which is great for us. How many Super Odds do we have? Both of them are in here. That's very cool. E-Hammer's good in this matchup. We've prized 2 Pikachu, which is a bit scary. So we do have to keep an eye on those. And we'll Sycamore. One other possibility is to play Town Map in this deck. That could be a decent one-of in here. We are going to play the Male, because we have VS Seeker. There's no real need to take the Sycamore. So we won't. We can attach the active fairly comfortably. And I think I just pass here. Don't really see a huge need to play Shaymin. They are ability focused, so I doubt they'll Hex us turn 1. Reasons to play the Shaymin now. There aren't too many, especially because we can insta-play and get an extra card next turn. So I'm happy enough passing here. Not the fastest of starts, but not too bad. The opponent attaches a water for turn, puts in the Rough Seas, and does just play Sycamore. Gets rid of 2 Ns, so they are wagering that we don't have much of a hand here, which is a dangerous wager to make. There is the Fighting Fury Belt, so getting Banette back might be important for us this game if we want to beat him down with a Mew. Of course, what we can do is attack with Mew, then we get hit with Crystal Ray, then we Sky Return with Mew. That's always an option. And then we can just Sky Return loop. Obviously they do have the Rough Seas though. There's 1 Elixir. Because they attach to the active, I'm still not too threatened here. They'd have to hit like Elixir, Energy Switch, because their manual attachment was to the bench. So that's not too big of an issue. Another Fury Belt, this time on Manaphy, trying to protect it as best they can. And we top deck into another VS Seeker, which isn't great. Otherwise it would have been a very clean Sycamore. But we can live with this. I may just set up... I may just not set up here. I may just put Shaymin down. So many things that can just punish us. At the same time, I need a lot to get the KO. Okay, I'm going to be greedy. Let's find some Zubats and some balls. Yep, that's really not bad. We do have to discard quite a few other supporters, but I don't mind it too much. Range is an important one to hold though. Getting rid of 2 VS. It's kind of painful. But I like the tempo of going for a knockout here. We do find balls, which is great. So we're doing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We've actually got the KO, which is ridiculous. And this is why having so many ball search cards is incredible. For this very reason. Because it means we can have a very aggressive turn too. And deal with an EX. Pick up a Pikachu, and Lysandre's a big one as well. Not bad at all. Best thing is we're threatening the Mew as well. Or threatening with Mew, I should say. The opponent puts down another Glaceon, which I don't really advise, to be honest. I don't think that's a great decision. They're going to VS Seek the Sycamore. They again had the option to end, but chose not to. Just decide to get rid of a water energy. Here is Rough Seas. Right. I do want to keep Shuppet. At the same time, I really don't. We won't, okay. I think I can win without Banette. We're going to see an Elixir, that does hit. Going to see a Dive Ball for Octillery. There's the evolution into Octillery. Another Max Elixir. That one fails. There's a Remoraid. Abyssal Hand for 3. Fury Belt onto the other Glaceon. And Crystal Ray for 80. So we can rough seize up our Raichu, which is pretty cool. I think we will definitely put Skyfield in. Definitely put down Pikachu. Really debating just the Lysandre here. Start going for a 2-hit. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's a pretty good number. Let's do it. This forces DCE. We have the E-Hammer in hand. There's a lot of reasons why I quite like this. Alternatively, they could have to find another Manaphy if they actually play 2, and then it's another easy couple of prizes for us. So I think there's a lot of reasons why this is pretty good here. We do see the Super Rod. And that's going to be played to recover that Manaphy. Maybe they are going to search it out for us. That's a really easy couple of prizes for us. I'm really happy to see that go back into the deck. Going to see VS Seeker, this time for Sycamore again. Choosing up to Enos, which is fine by me, I think. There is Manaphy, so they've decided to give us another easy prize target. So there's the attachment, so it might be a second bite here. Oh, and it's the free retreat, of course. What am I saying? Gonna see a dive ball. Second artillery, beautiful. They can start using them for at least one card. There's a second super rod. Just for one water energy. A Regice doesn't do much. It's actually an Abyssal Hand for 3 cards, which is pretty cool. See how many more stadiums they'll play. There's the Crystal Ray for the knockout. Now we have the debate of what to promote here. I think Zubat's the safest thing to promote. Especially when we can casually find Golbat so easily. I think I want to start sniping this guy. I really don't think the snipes are that relevant. We do have Ultra Ball here. It's going to be pretty handy. We also have Super Rod, which I do need to play because we are running out of Pikachus. Then we're just going to Ultra Ball, find ourselves Shaymin. And start digging for DCE so that we can attack with our Mew EX. We do find Double Colorless, which is beautiful. Find the Golbat as well. I need to think about this. We also need to find a way of getting Raichu to actually use Circle Circuit. There's Ultra Ball. Perfect. Really want to keep this Lysandre though. I'm very tempted to keep this Lysandre. I think I'm keeping that over Sycamore. It's pretty bold, but our deck size is quite thin. So I think just doing this, keeping just Lysandre DCE is strong enough to carry us for the rest of the game. So we're going to attack with Circle Circuit. Dish out the big 120. So both Glaceons are heavily damaged. There's a Trainer's Mail from the opponent. And again, having such a small hand size would make them maybe not want to N us. There's a Fury Belt to the Regice and a DC as well. We do still have our Enhanced Hammer rooting around in there somewhere. Gonna see the Lysandre into Raichu. Abyssal Hand for 2. There's a Dive Ball for the Fail Search so that they can get another Abyssal Hand in maybe. Yep, just for 1 card. Don't really know what they're digging for here. And Crystal Ray for 80. So we're just going to retreat. And Circle Circuit. Pick up Pikachu and Raichu. Those are perfect prizes. In comes Regice. There's the attachment to Regice. And the N. That was essential. But it means we can just... Oh, wow. Well then. That's pretty good. Do we still get the KO? No, we don't. Because they can heal. It's another 120 away. Resistance Blizzard for the big 80. Skyfield's a great pickup. We'll quickly heal up Raichu a little bit. Do I have game? No. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's no other attack that I can steal here. I'm trying to think what the best line is here. So close to this game being ours. Nuzzle could be a good option. Don't really... Actually, we can play Super Rod, I think. Super Rod's good here. Because we get Shaymin back. Getting a Golbat could be really helpful as well, because we push the Glaceon into that range again. So, I think we're holding this hand. I think Nuzzle is fine. The only thing is he can retreat into this guy. Crystal Ray to get the knockout on this. Then we're pretty sad. Alternatively, Lysandring the Raichu is a problem. I think Nuzzle's definitely our best bet here. Let's go for it. Oh, we clutched it, boys. Oh, it does nothing. I definitely should have Lysandre Nuzzled. Whoops. Oh, that's a big error. Okay. The opponent has Lysandre as well. I'm actually happier with the Lysandre, I think. I think I'm happier with this. I think their better option was if they had an energy, they could attach to this guy, free retreat, KO the Mew with this, then I'm in a big spot. But for now, I think we're still fine. Oh, VS Seeker. It's pretty big. How many VS Seekers left? Okay. We can grab teammates here. Just for Raichu DCE. I think that's pretty good. Alternative is just to go DC Shaymin. That could also be fine. I think that's better. We access more of our deck this way. Especially because it means we can do this. I'm really conscious about another Rough Seas coming down. That's kind of why I don't want to play this Golbat down straight away. So I think I'm holding. And we'll see what the opponent can do here. Luckily, just their low damage cap is really what's helping us out a lot here. Yeah, so there's a rough seas, so I'm glad we kept the Golbat at least. It means we keep our win condition on Lysandering this guy. And I think... yes, we win. Sweet. The bat's clutching us again. Very nice, very close game. Maybe not on prizes, but in terms of our resources and our answers to his walls, we were running pretty thin there. But yeah, another good win. Let's carry on with Raichu. Beating a Greninja and an Aquabox as well. We didn't Ranger once that whole game. But obviously Ranger is an option. So again we get to go first. Pretty jammy, but we do start. Again, this hand is pretty manageable. I can live with this hand. Starting with Shaymin's a little bit awkward. And the opponent has Jolteon. It's not too big of a threat for us. Let's see. We have Ranger, we have 3 Skyfield, 3 DCE. Okay, pretty sure I just want to grab Zubat here, Ultra Ball away Golbat and teammates. Let's just grab another Pikachu. It's always safest. Especially if we're getting rid of the Golbat anyway. Oh, one of our Skyfields in our hand, so it's not prized. What am I saying? Okay. Let's grab Shaymin. Slap the old Skyfield in. Set up for 5. Shuppet is a nice one. And I think I might hold this hand. The only thing we kind of want is a way of either we attach DCE this turn to Shaymin, or we attach to the bench, right? Okay, still worth digging a little bit here. I think I want to train his mail before the... unless I just discard the mail. Yeah, I could just discard the mail for another Shaymin. Running low on the bats, that's the only thing. But a Jolteon has 160 HP anyway, so... not the worst of hands. Still no energy. Okay, let's just go for it. Dig for energy. We got an energy. That's really all I can ask for. Look at those VS Seekers just lining up to be Sycamored. We'll pass. No reason to play the mail. There's no other card I can search for, basically. Jirachi promo, Magina. This is probably Valplume box. Yeah, there's Oddish. There's Forest, so we can get rid of Shaymin. Banette's actually pretty good here. I think Pikachu has to go. maybe starting with a Jolteon, I should have had the inclination that we were up against Valbox, but either way, seeing a Lysandre like stall approach, so maybe I will be able to get use out of some items. It doesn't look like they've done much. If they had energy in hand, I may well have retreated and just Stardusted. Interesting. Let's play Super Rod. Shaymin's are really good in this matchup, just a Sky Return bounce. So good that I'm going to grab 2. I definitely should have Trainer's Mailed first. That's my bad. Never punished. Take Special Charge, because I doubt I'm going to use it this game. I really want to Sycamore this hand. But the opponent's has done so little. And I think Mew is very precious. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to play down all the VS Seekers and pass. There's a Lugia. And we're going to get hit with Swift. No, not even. We have Raichu. Oh, you can't attack with Swift because it's a lightning energy. I thought it was colourless for some reason. Let's pass. We basically need to wait till we hit DCE or Skyfield before I make my move, really. The opponent just retreats into the Jolteon with no energy on. We have a Trainer's Mail. There's Skyfield. So that's pretty handy. So it means I can put you down. And I think now I'm happy enough to Sycamore. Let's start the aggression, because the opponent's not drawing anything. There's Rope. Rope is pretty good. Let's see where they want to go. Maybe Magearna? Oh, wow. They're giving us the Jirachi for free, which I really like. That was a bit of a headache for us otherwise. Kind of want to just Ultra Ball Shaymin here. Let's go for it. We'll commit DC to Mew. And we'll just Circle Circuit. Actually. Could get some more use of items. Just going to grab a second Lysandre. I think they're like the best card in this matchup by far. Let's Super Rod. Yeah, let's get the bats. We have enough Raichus to sort us out this whole game. Kind of tempted just to keep the Zubat in hand. Really surprised they fed us the Jirachi over Magearna. There's again a retreat. There's Rainbow Energy. And it's definitely Lysandre time. Yeah. Okay, they just concede. I think they knew that we had Lysandre, right? So, yeah. Let's get one more game in, because that one didn't really count. Just Varpling bots can draw bad. That's a lesson. That's just it, really. Ooh, look. Our next reward is 2 teammates, and that's perfect for this deck. So, if you're on the ladder this month, and you need some teammates, go get them. Very good cards. I'm a huge fan of teammates. I think it's one of the most underrated supporters. I try and play it in so many decks. Definitely non-EX decks, it just makes sense to play at least one. But even some of the EX decks I've tried. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Teammates are just cool because it guarantees stuff. There's always the what if moment of a Sycamore. We've won 4 coin flips in a row. Not bad. The hand is okay. Maybe losing the E-Hammer early would be a bit annoying. But it's only really to help out against Giratina. The opponent has some Pikachu sleeves. This could be Mirror. You never know. Oh, Pikachu EX. That has really low HP. Okay. 30. Okay. Don't think I have to worry about special energy. Let's just grab Pikachu. Not going to Super Rod just one Raichu back in. I don't think it's worth it. We get some good stuff. Let's level ball first. Hope to find a supporter or another Ultra Ball. We get a beautiful Sycamore. This is pretty clean. Now we can play our Super Rod for just Raichu. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. See, it's always a question of like how crazy do you go with this deck, because it always seems to have more digging potential when you want it. I think I'm just going to do this, then hold the rest, I think. Because it's so tempting to just Ultra Ball again. I could Ultra Ball, get no target in Shaymin. Or I could Ultra Ball, just get like a Banette for next turn. Or something. I think overall I'm happy enough passing here. What else do I really need? Escape Rope could be helpful, and so could a second DC for next turn, but that's really about it. So I'm just going to pass for now. I can't really see Pikachu.deck hexing me turn 1. Gonna see an attachment, then a level ball. It's probably Magnezone, right? You would expect Magnezone if they're playing Pikachu EX. So we could well see a Magnemite come down here. And if so, we have the Remoraid. That's not Magnemite. There's a Fury Belt to the Pikachu. Now it's just a normal EX. If they flip a couple of heads, they could go pretty far ahead. Gonna see the Trainer's Mail for Professor's Letter. And just the Iron Tail, there's one head. Wow. Big damage. That's crazy. Pikachu's a monster. Yeah, I'm not that worried. We'll grab Banette to turn off the good old Fury Belt. Now Pikachu's back to being a weakling. You can have a clean setup for 6. Not bad. Can we win? No, we can't win this turn because we've only got 2 Zubats down. Could win next turn if I search a Zubat out this turn though. If we can triple Golbat this guy and then KO whatever he benches next turn. Is there any reason to Golbat this turn? Don't think so, because again there could be a sneaky Rough Seeds in there somewhere. Let's just Circle Circuit. Oh boy, the triple Golbat play is real. There's a Raichu. Oh, Octillery. That was way too much health to triple Golbat. Darn it. Yeah, they skip anyway. Pretty sure we were very far ahead there. So yeah, that is Raichu Bats. We played some really weird decks on the ladder today. I guess this is a bit of a weird deck itself, but it's doing okay. Let's show the deck off one more time. Yeah, we didn't see any Giratinas, and that's the biggest thing that stops us. And we didn't see any Parallels, and that's also one of the biggest things that stops this deck being decent. So, as long as you can avoid them, this is a very good deck. And, yeah. Let me know what you guys think down below of this deck. Can it compete at the highest level? I'm not too sure that it can, but it was also really cool to see. And this does have quite a few tricks up its sleeve, this deck, with all the sniping. And, of course, the Banette's a cool trick as well, so... there's a lot to this deck, a lot more than you'd actually think, and yeah, it's an interesting pick for sure. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the discussion down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. It's been Joe from Omnipoke, and I will see you guys next time.